Hey guys, in case you're new around here, we are the Douglases. We have 5 kids and we sold our house almost 4 months ago to travel the country. So we are coming up to the end of, well, we just finished the end of 2024 and we're coming up on 4 months of full-time travel. So we had some people ask some questions that we wanted to kind of do a little update video and answer some questions you guys have for us. So the first question, for those of you that may not know, also we obviously homeschool our children because on the road. But somebody had asked, now that we've traveled to several states, how's the homeschooling going? Any challenges compared to before going on the road? And I will take that one because I'm a homeschooler. It's pretty normal to what we had it when we had a home. We still have our good days and our not so good days. I do miss having all like my manipulatives and stuff to work with. I did bring some for my preschooler, but I just don't have all the same stuff to work with that I did obviously when we had space and had a house. But we are doing like more hands-on learning this year instead of just a bunch of book work. We're going to historical places and doing some, science centers and hands-on learning. And I do feel a little more like stressed and disorganized every time we switch houses because sometimes things get put in buckets and I can't find them. And then we're trying to we usually travel on Sundays, so a lot of times by the time Monday rolls around, I haven't yet unpacked or gotten my stuff out that we need, haven't found anything. So, and trying to get everybody the house settled and trying to start school the next day is kind of chaotic and crazy. So every time we switch houses, I get grumpy. But other than that, the homeschooling is pretty much the same for us. Somebody asked the other day, which was interesting. I guess I wouldn't have thought that, but somebody said, what do we do with leftover food at the end of a stay?
So we try our best to make sure we use up as much as we can before we travel to the next house. But we did bring a rather large cooler that we take stuff between houses. Last couple treks have only been 3-4 hours long. So we pack it in there with some ice, and so far so good.
Yeah. I prefer to we have a soft-sided smaller cooler too. We prefer to use that one for leftover food, and then use the big cooler for storage space because then the car just packs better. But the last 2 times, I think we've had to use the big cooler just because we've had so much left over. And we only travel no more than 8 hours a day usually. So, that works for that. Someone asked, what are some of the challenges, disappointments, and struggles for us as adults and for the kids, and how do we navigate those? So our biggest struggle, I think, and challenge for the kids is just missing family and missing friends back in Pennsylvania.
Especially around the holiday.
The holidays were hard. So we do our best to just keep our traditions the same, not change a whole lot. So like Christmas, we still did gingerbread houses. We did Christmas cookies. We did, went to see Christmas lights. So we tried to do all those things. And then Thanksgiving, we normally host for my family. So that was hard. So we actually went to the movies on Thanksgiving, which is something we've never done before, but we thought that added a little bit of fun to something that, was kind of sad for them. So that's probably their biggest challenge and struggle in this whole thing. I don't think they really, we have to adjust to different houses every time we switch houses, and different bedrooms and who's sleeping with who and, get that all worked out and out of our systems. But, I think for the most part, that's probably their biggest struggle. Otherwise, they're really pretty go with the flow. Just kind of go with whatever. Some of our struggles and challenges, packing the car.
Yes.
All the time.
All the time. And unpacking.
Yeah, I don't do that. He does that. He does all that. We'll have to do a video of packing the car.
Yep.
And it's very entertaining.
It's a challenge. It's like Tetris on steroids.
And it doesn't ever always pack the same.
Nope.
So sometimes it doesn't work well, and then Eli gets upset because he's got more stuff falling on him and he's trying to get lunch out of the cooler and he can't reach it or get it, and so he gets kind of frustrated. So packing, and it gets annoying to unpack all of it and repack it all the time. But that's one of the things we just endure because this is the life that we've chosen. Something else is the uncertainty of a new area. that stresses me out a little bit. We do our best, to do our research and kind of figure out where we are, but trying to navigate where we are in relationship to like Walmart and Target and, the grocery stores and gas stations. And you pick a really cool house and then you realize it's like 45 minutes to anything. So, and just safety and trying to, not knowing where you are and what's around and what kind of area you're in is probably my biggest like concern or thing I get most stressed out about. You do most of our cooking, so how's cooking in other people's kitchens?
And that also is challenging. You expect a certain level of supplies in the kitchen, like pots and pans and oven mitts.
Oven mitts.
Yeah, you would expect oven mitts.
You've had at least 2 houses that just don't have any
Don't
oven
have
mitts.
any oven mitts. So we're considering buying our own oven mitts to take with us.
Yep.
Now we do have some of our own pots and pans and spatulas, spoons, and stuff, precisely for these reasons.
But we did go out and buy a 9x13 pan because there were some houses that just didn't have a 9x13 pan.
We bought some cookie sheets for making cookies.
We had to buy forks for one house because
Yes,
they didn't
because
have. They had
they
5
had
forks.
5 forks.
There's 7
Sleeps
of
8,
us.
but only 5 forks.
Yeah. So cooking in other people's kitchens is different.
Yes.
Making Christmas cookies and not having a stand mixer was not fun, and I will not do that again. We had to go out and buy a hand mixer, and it was no. You take things for granted that you have when you have a house. Something else. So I thought it would be easier to like get us to churches every Sunday, and we've gone to a few, and some have been really good, and some of them have not been very welcoming. But it's hard. It's hard to like find a church and go every week. You're new. You don't, we're not super outgoing people. We're mostly introverts unless we know you. So that's really stepping out of our comfort zone. So we need to be better about kind of finding, churches. Like right now, I think we're surrounded by a couple different denominations that just aren't ours or what we believe. So we kind of have to travel a little bit further out for that. So that's kind of been a struggle. The other thing I think is hard is that it's always just us, like the 7 of us all the time. And I love you all, but, and we didn't do a whole lot with other people when we were in Pennsylvania. We are very immediate family centered and oriented and do a lot of our own things. But it was nice to occasionally have a cookout or have someone over, or we loved our neighbors. So we'd have them over, we'd go over there and just pop over and say hi. So that's kind of been hard for me sometimes. It's just needing like other people in my life. But I just remind myself that, this is temporary and our kids are only little once and we're making core memories. So at some point, they'll all be gone and I'll have all the time in the world to do whatever. So, I think those are our biggest probably struggles and challenges and things, and just kind of how we're plowing through those. What has been the most unique experience or memory?
So I think for me, because I actually went and did it I took the kids up into the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, and I think that was, just unique because we haven't done anything else like that. Traveling up into it, and then it's a very tall structure, so we got to see for miles, and I think the kids had fun once you get through the rickety elevator ride up to it. But I think that was one of the more unique things we've done so far.
And it's something that like people talk about all the time. Like, you've heard of the Gateway Arch, and something we got to experience, one of those landmark things. I stayed at the bottom, but they all had a great time. Let's see. Where do we plan on going for the rest of the winter into spring? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
It was real easy and gung ho to get like through 2024. We're like, we're gonna do this, and then we kind of like, oh, now what? Like, I got tired of planning, and now you have to like plan weather, and like you can't hit the national parks when it's too cold, and we have to be back to Pennsylvania at a certain time. So I'm not sure. We are headed to New Mexico after Texas, and then I'm pretty sure we're headed to Arizona and California. But after that, we're not quite sure. Where we'll end up on our way back towards Pennsylvania for the summer.
So if you have suggestions, comment.
Yeah, if you've had places that you think we need to visit out here in the West-ish area, let us know, because we're kind of still open to what's going on from this point on. How are the beds and the pillows? So I think when I answered about being someone was concerned about beds and pillows before, I was like, it's not too bad. Since then, this bed that I'm in it doesn't give. Like, you sit on it and it does not give. It's not my favorite. Like, I can get out of bed and, like, you don't even notice because it doesn't move.
Yep.
And we did bring our own pillows. So pillows are fine. We're good with pillows. The kids they did complain at one house that all the pillows were too flat, but they're kids. I'm like, suck it up. So we just kind of suck it up too, I guess. There's not much I can do about it. There's 2 beds in this master bedroom that we're in this house, which is weird. But they're both just as hard.
Same, yeah.
So we just
Indoor.
yeah, we're still young-ish. So
Ish.
So I can endure for a time period before it becomes a big problem. Someone asked our favorite city or state so far. So I think our favorite like city for adventure and like the things we've done was St. Louis. Like if I'm going to go on vacation,
Great place for a vacation.
St. Louis. We loved St. Louis. Would I live there? No, but loved it for vacation.
So for like, if we were to pick somewhere to live, I think so far we've liked Oklahoma the most.
Yeah, I liked Oklahoma. I felt like I don't love to drive, and I felt like I could easily get around.
It's all laid out in a grid.
Yeah, so I just turned right, left, straight, not roundabouts and circles and bridges, and it was really easy to get around in. It was like a nice city that wasn't super busy and wasn't super like scary. I felt safe there. It was nice there. There was things to do there. But I really did like Golden, Missouri for like our more relaxing stay, where we did a lot of like family at the house stuff. We had a great yard. The people there are like gold. They were amazing. We had an older couple that I just loved. The church there was really great. Our host was amazing. So as far as like people connection and community, Golden by far. But it was also like out in the middle of nowhere.
And you had to drive 45 minutes into another state to get your groceries.
Yeah, and it was very windy and twisty. So like our car sick kids that don't
Everyone
normally
was
get
getting
car
car
sick
sick.
would get car sick. But I loved it for sure, for like just that community aspect. It was amazing. Let's see. How do you and Brian find alone time? Alone time?
I have 5 kids.
What is that? I think I've said this before. We didn't have this isn't much different than the life we had in Pennsylvania. We didn't use babysitters often. Our family babysat once in a blue moon. It wasn't until like last year, I think we went away for the first time overnight ever, leaving the kids. And we even took one with us. So, that's just not something we've had a lot of, which is fine. So alone time just hasn't always been our thing. But we do, like, our kids go to bed a little bit earlier, probably than most kids. At least the older kids can stay up and read a little bit, but we purposely kind of put them to bed a little bit earlier so we have some time, like now.
When it's quiet.
When it's quiet. Actually, I'm surprised nobody's been down here. I think I did see someone peek around the corner. So that's kind of the only time we really have time to ourselves. Some of the houses have barn doors, and they don't lock, and they don't shut correctly. And some of the houses have doors that have regular doors, but they still don't lock.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We were wrapping Christmas presents, and one of the kids
just plow
burst
through.
in.
So yeah, kind of check the door locks just if you need some alone time.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's see some things that we have learned so far. What are the biggest things that we've learned on this trip?
The mount system is a big challenge. We thought we overpacked some with the intent to send some stuff back to Pennsylvania, and that is very, very expensive.
Very expensive.
And at our last day, we were buying some Christmas presents, and the post office refused to deliver them. We went to the post office itself multiple times just to pick up packages. It was very inconvenient, but yeah, that's definitely been something we've learned.
But I got mail here, like USPS mail at this house. So
Yep.
it just depends on what house, and I don't know what the
And the
difference
post
is.
office
And the
and
post
the mail
office.
carrier and
Yeah. So that's, yeah. I thought, oh, my parents could just mail us our mail once in a while, or we could send some things back if we need room. But it's not cheap and it's not easy. Even like my parents mailing us, I had them mail me like a sweatshirt that I bought and like a paper. And it was like $40. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the mail is not something we need to still kind of work on and be more mindful of. The trip itself is a little bit more expensive than we had budgeted for before we had left. We had some ideas on what we thought we could do, like for Airbnbs, and we're finding that that's not quite right. You weren't off too much, but a little bit. Just because I found that the Airbnbs they have to work for us. Like, they have to function. Like, they can house 10 people, but they're all queen beds. My kids do not do well sharing a bed, especially long term. So for like a month, I just can't ask them to share a bed. It's not worth the, like, he kicked me and she looked at me, and it's just not worth it. So like, you have to have bunk beds, or we have to have a house that has enough bedrooms, or so having to find those things and be a little more specific than I thought maybe we'd have to be when we started usually ends up being a little bit pricier. This house is really nice, and it was actually cheaper to stay here for 4 weeks for a full month than to stay here for 2 or 3 weeks. So in this case, did I need to be in this area for a month? Probably not, but it was worth like the $1,500 savings I had. So we check that too. Some houses just have really good deals for a month. So that's something we've learned, is what we need in a house.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's a little bit pricier than we thought. All those day trips can add up too. Right now it's flu and RSV and COVID and norovirus season. So I'm kind of being really picky about what we do, and I'm trying to do like outside things. So we're not utilizing like our membership to our children's museum and science centers right now, just because those are just germ infested grounds right now. So we're trying to kind of do museums that we not touching things, and do like zoo and outside activities, just to kind of help. I don't know if it'll work, but so far so good. We haven't had anything major. And then what else we've learned? Packing, like, we thought we needed things that we didn't
end up
need.
using, and tried to send back, but that was our other point of learning.
I could have just rebought it for less than what it cost me to ship it back. And then there were some things we didn't pack that we did end up needing, like the 9x13 pan. So that's been kind of just a learning curve of, I think for school, I packed all my curriculum at home in boxes, and I labeled it like, curriculum. But when we put it in the storage unit, I wasn't thinking that I needed to put it where I could access it when we come back in the summer. So I had to rebuy some curriculum, and I wasn't very happy about it. So we didn't pack that very well, because I'm like, oh, we'll go back in the summer and we'll switch this and that and our games and our school. But we weren't. We were just sticking it in there. So I have no idea where any of it is.
Yeah, especially at the end. It kind of became a mess.
We just threw it in. So that's kind of a bummer. But so we'll come back in the summer and figure something out to kind of switch out some things. And but yeah, anything else we've really learned?
I think that's about it.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are. Some of the questions that were asked lately, we thought we'd give some answers to. If you have any other questions, just let us know. We're happy to kind of share our journey and what we're doing. And somebody asked when we were going to be done with this adventure.
When we're done?
I don't know. We don't have a
End
we don't
date?
have an end date. We don't have a plan. We're just kind of going with whatever. In my head, I feel like we'll be done summer of 2026. But honestly, we could be done before that. We could be done after that. Yeah, Brian works from home, those of you that are new here. So he's working on the road, and we're homeschooling, and so we're kind of we don't have a house anymore, so we don't have a home. We don't have anything we have to go back to. So yeah, we'll just go until we've seen everything we want to see, or until we're tired of unpacking and packing all the time, and ready to settle down, or until we find somewhere we love and we're ready to settle down. So there is no end date in mind. There is no returning to Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, those of you that love us, and we love you. but we are not coming back to the north.
Weather down here is nice.
Except for today. It's a really cold week, but I've heard the whole country's cold this week. But yeah, we are loving the south in the winter, and I can't imagine going back to the north in the winter. So Pennsylvania will not be it for us. I'm sorry. But yeah, we're kind of scoping out our options, and we'll just kind of go with whatever. So that's where we are. Thanks for listening, and let us know if you have any other questions, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on. Bye, guys.
See ya.